Hi, this is In Theory, and I'm doing some investigative reporting on the media covering Balloon Boys Families Media Stakeout. Just going to do a little bit of what's going on. Let's get an eye on the eye of America. Of the media covering the story.
Somebody should.
Yeah. What do you think about this all? Anything you want to say?
I think it's kind of silly.
I do too. Like, well, it's now a non-story, don't you think, kinda?
I do think, and I would like to get back to covering real news, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what some of my friends were online and say, hey, why don't you go ask them what we're covering other things going on out there? Because some of the things I talk about is like what's going on with the devaluation of the dollar, the big theft of how much money we're losing in the country like that. Have you guys ever decided, like, is there anything place to stake out or cover some more news, like what to do with what's going on with the theft of our money in this country right now?
You know, that sounds so much better, and I wish I made the decisions of what I covered. I just point a camera and shoot, and you tell me where to go.
What do you think about this all?
It's kind of crazy. A lot of resources for this.
It's just the media frenzy. Why not figure out
This
what's...
isn't a frenzy, this is media boredom.
Is it media boredom? I was curious, like, what, like, some of the things is, how long is it going to be a big story, you think, for? Are you guys going to do
One more day.
one more day and then roll out?
Yeah. Unless they charge me.
As long as the donut stops, right?
Right.
That's it.
You're part of the media, man.
But now my media is watching the media.
That's what we fucking do.
Watch it. But
Do you
look
see
at
anybody reporting here? We're just standing around waiting for something to happen, and when it happens, we'll all do the same thing. You can't report here anyway. What are you going to do? Go knock on a neighbor's door? Gee, I bet you haven't been interviewed before.
Yeah. Who decides where you guys go, though? Do they just tell you kind of to head off this way and check this way everybody else is or something like that?
Depends the outlet. What are you going to do?
The one thing I cover, I do an online show, like some of the stuff that's happening with like the devaluation of the dollar. Did anybody ever send up like, go check out the bailout stuff or anything like that?
The dollar is like complicated story. This is a pretty basic story. You go to the press conference is over. Well, what do we need to do? We need to talk to the Heene family. Well, where are they? Who the fuck knows? Let's go stand inside their house until they come back. There's not much else to do.
Everybody can understand.
Yeah, this is not the devaluation of the dollar.
I'm kind of curious. I was economics guy.
The dollar's actually doing pretty well nowadays too.
It's actually been going down. The last.
It went back up.
No, it went back up, and that is. But now we talked to.
It's supposed to go down.
It's going
to go down.
Well, the value of the dollar to go down. I don't know.
The value of the dollar to go. The dollar. The dollar was probably a little inflated.
Yeah, it has, but that stock market.
I don't want it to crash, but you know.
The stock market's been going up at the same time it's going down. So is it real value, or are we going to be able to buy less?
Well, we're buying less regardless.
Yeah, everything's shrinking.
But everybody's money's going to be worth less.
It would be good if we could buy fewer overseas imports. Come on.
Sure.
That was actual economic policy for a while. I was trying to value the dollar a little, and get a little bit of domestic industry back and get us.
I definitely think it'd be better to have domestic industry.
Well, that's the value of the dollar. That's how it happens.
Maybe, but
you know what?
I think if we had a strong dollar,
right here, the discussion we've had right here is 85 times more complicated than this, which is just basically, was it a hoax? All right, we can do a live shot.
Yeah, the public is the one.
The public doesn't give a shit about the dollar. They care about this.
They care about when they can't buy
this.
things, but they don't care to read like a 30-minute story about
Balloon Boy.
Yeah.
I got an email last night. It was classic. This guy sent me an email. He's like, I don't know why your publication wastes resources covering these stories and why I waste my time reading them. And I replied, said, I think you've answered your question right there.
Do you think? Well, some of my friends would say, well, if the people were had more stories on it, they wouldn't watch the stories on the devaluation of the dollar and stuff like that. You think? Is that what happens?
There are tons of stories on the devaluation of the dollar. If you want to read about the devaluation of the dollar,
you can.
There's tons of shit. You know how many hits those things get compared to Balloon Boy or the latest celebrity thing? Nothing. No, certain sectors of society care about the devaluation of the dollar, but the majority of it doesn't really want to read about that shit.
People like to say they want to read about the valuation of the dollar because I think it makes them feel good, but the reality is the vision of themselves is far less than what they really are. So
people also say that they're willing to have their taxes go up to pay for social service programs. How many politicians run on that platform?
Remember when the newspapers had the focus groups and they were what do you want to read? International news.
Yeah.
Really? That's what you want to read? Yeah. They say that's to impress their friends.
Well, you can't. Any pollster will tell you can't believe what people say based on certain things like that.
People act differently than it is.
You just follow the clicks. People follow Balloon Boy than they follow the And
Okay.
plus, anyway, if you were doing evaluation of the dollar story, it's like there's nowhere to camp out.
No.
You know?
Well, go out to some of the Federal Reserve or something like that, where they're printing the
Camp out
money.
outside the Federal Reserve.
Outside of the Federal Reserve and ask.
Why? What's going to happen?
Let's go stake out the
What's going to happen?
Greenspan's
Is
house.
Ben Bernanke going to drive into the Federal Reserve so we get a shot of him? Like,
We'll stake up Bernanke, Greenspan. We'll like you'll be outside their house there eating
I would
donuts.
love
Where
fucking
are you?
camping Alan Greenspan. Wouldn't that be the best? Well, that's how you get. You know what? That's how you get shit. I have a friend back in LA who called Heene at home once for a story. He just got so
Federico Peña?
pissed off dealing with his flags. Called Federico Peña at home once and got the fucking story. Because they don't do that shit in Washington. That's bullshit, you know. I've always thought we should stake out these guys now.
Yeah. In the beginning, I believed in the story of this family because I talked to the investigators who were with the family when the boy appeared. And they seemed to be convinced that it was a true story, and though there were so many possibilities of a hoax. So it was kind of a letdown yesterday when we found that it was really a hoax. From the beginning, most neighbors, knowing that, they knew that something fishy was going on because they are not very liked around.
So where are you from? Or
Brazil.
Oh, Brazil? Oh, far away.
Brazil loves this story. We have 2 networks here.
Now here's the question I have. My name's Chris. I'm like, what? Have you ever thought about covering other stories, or do you think covering the story makes it more, or does people demand to see this kind of thing? But what about like what's going on in the world economy right now and this whole bailout thing, or is that?
I have to tell you, I'm a freelance journalist. It's not my call. I was hired to do this. I'm grateful because
You get money, yeah. I wish
it's not my call. I would never, on my own, come here to cover this. But I was hired to do it, and I'm doing it. Thank God I have done very good stories. I mean, I think they are good. And my network seems to think the same. So far it's okay, but I think it's over. And we need to move on. But, you know, those kinds of stories, they have their own momentum. And this seems to not stop. I don't know why, but I mean, they're still at large, so something could happen, you know.
So now they're walking down. I think people feel ripped off. There's the thing I'm interested in. Some people
I'm
are
angry.
really. Are you angry yourself?
I'm angry.
Because you had to come here.
I think I was had.
And I don't feel
When you
anger
create
myself
news.
personally. I was like, oh, this isn't weird, you know. I feel. I don't know what I
I'm angry
feel.
especially about how this guy and his wife, who is an accomplice, used these 2 kids for hoax. I think it's awful. I mean, it shows all this reality show culture, what it really is.
And maybe it's like a backlash too. The anger is that kind of getting mad.
It's good for this culture to see, look at what we're doing with this culture of exposure, excessive exposure. Everybody becomes a celebrity, instant celebrity on reality
The
shows.
cult of personalities kind of.
So it's feeding into that kind of, you know, it's really bad because then this guy committed a crime. It's a serious crime. And I hope this doesn't put other people to try to do something like that and not being caught. He was caught because the kid gave away. If the kid hadn't given away, maybe we wouldn't know ever that it was a hoax.
In Theory TV is a live interactive video show. I broadcast on boldvoices.tv, channel 6, as well as intheory.tv. In theory, we live in a rational world with liberty and justice for all. Let's explore the possibilities.